Hey friends, today is a cold, gloomy day, but I thought I was going to do a what I eat in a day video to show you what I eat in a day. It's isolation. I just got back from South Africa. It's lockdown. So, let's do something nice. Let's make some comfort food. I'll show you what I eat today. I'm going to start off with quinoa and apple porridge. Now, this is one of my favorite recipes from my first book, What Vegans Eat. And it's really easy to make. It's really tasty, really nutritious. So I thought, I'll have that for breakfast today. It's a common staple for me, so why not? Let's cook together. Small saucepan, already turned on a low heat. All I'm gonna do first of all, I'm gonna take about 1/4 cup of rolled oats. There we go, bang that in there. And then I'm gonna take 1/4 cup of quinoa as well. So let me just grab some of that from here and we can add that into the mix. Come on. There we go. Cool, pop that back in there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in 1/2 cup of water into the mix and also some cinnamon. Let's add that in there, and about 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Got a spoon over here, just gonna give that a stir, mix the whole thing together. Okay, beautiful. All combined, then I'm gonna turn it to like medium to high heat. It's on a 5 right now, gonna go up a little bit higher to like a 7. Cool, get that nice and warm. Once that's cracking, next thing I'm gonna stir in is a grated apple. So while that's warming up, got an apple here, got a grater here. So all we're gonna do, I don't de-stalk it or anything like that. All I'm gonna do is take it, hold the top, take the bottom, and just grate away. As little waste as possible. I know people don't like eating the stalk, but you can eat the stalk, so. Obviously watch the old fingers. Tons of fibre in here, nice bit of sweetness as well. I'm not savage, I will take the real top stalk off. And then, there we go. Right down to the fingers, a little bit of skin there. Apple skin, not finger skin. And then let's chuck all of this grated apple goodness in. Beautiful. Add that all in there. It's gonna feel like a lot at this stage when you add a full grated apple in, but it's gonna mix in really, really nicely. It's also gonna add a little bit of hydration to the dish. Ton of nutrients, so that's great. Stir that in. Beautiful. Then all we're gonna do as well, I'm gonna add some ground flaxseed in. Now ground flaxseed, let me look what I put. Yep, right here in the book, 1 tablespoon. Bang, add that in. And then also, we're gonna add some raisins. Now, I've put in, let's look in the book, 1/4 cup of raisins. I think I've put a bit more in here. I really do love raisins, so. We can turn the heat down a touch. And then what we're gonna do at this stage is we're gonna add in 1/2 cup of plant-based milk. Now, I've got oat milk here. Oh, that's pretty much bang on 1/2 cup. Great. I've got oat milk here. In the book, I did say you can use like cashew milk. If you wanna go as high protein as possible, I think hemp milk's your best bet. It's quite nutty and earthy, but this recipe is quite nutty and earthy anyway, so I wouldn't really worry about that. Now this is, fundamentally, this is the recipe, This is everything you're gonna add at this stage, but feel free if you like the sweetness, add a bit of sweetness in there, add a bit of maple syrup, agave, a bit of plain sugar, brown sugar, anything like that. All we're gonna do now, give that a little stir. I'm gonna pop a lid on it. I'm gonna leave it at a fairly low temperature, 4 or 5. I'm just gonna leave that for 10 minutes. So while that's cooking away, all it's gonna do, it's gonna soak up all that moisture. It's gonna become nice and stodgy. Again, at that stage, once it's nice and stodgy, stir it occasionally, but you can add a little bit of more liquid in there if you want. And then we're just gonna serve it up. It's gonna be a beautiful quinoa, apple, oat, loads of protein. Beautiful, nice tasty breakfast. I'll let this cook and I'll serve it up. Right, I'm gonna turn the heat off. Boom. This is nice and thick now. Beautiful. There we go. Give that another stir. That's fantastic. I was gonna add a little bit more milk actually, but that's bang on. That's exactly how I want to enjoy this. So I'm just gonna spoon some out. This recipe makes 2, so I'm gonna have half. And that beautiful fiance is gonna have half as well. There we go. Fantastic. And then what I have done as well is I've chopped up some pumpkin seeds. I'm just gonna sprinkle that on top. We'll have a touch more. So really you've got a beautiful healthy breakfast here. We've got some seeds in there, we've got some apple in there, quinoa, tons of protein, oats, plant-based milk, tasty bit of cinnamon. Absolutely banging breakfast. Let me show it you now. So Why Eat in a Day continued. It's getting on for lunchtime and I'm getting hungry. So I've already done a little bit of the prep just to get us in the mood, get us in the mix. I'm gonna make a crispy tofu, broccoli bowl, bulgur wheat, pumpkin seeds, hoisin sauce, really sticky, really tasty. It's beautiful, it's got loads of protein. First thing I do, I've got a pot of water here boiling away and I've just cut some broccoli florets up really nice and small like that. I'm gonna pop them in there and I'm just gonna leave them for a few minutes, maybe about 4 or 5 minutes. Let them soften a little bit, but I want them to stay slightly crispy. Over here, I've got a block of firm tofu. I've actually got it from the company called Tofu, with a double O, Tofu, instead of the U. It's probably my favorite one. I like this one, I like cauldron as well. Cauldron's quite nice because it's a nice square block. This one's a little bit more of a regular size, but either way. What I'm going to do with it is I've squeezed, I don't know, I never know which one's wrong, some of the water out of it, and then I'm just going to cut it up into some little cubes now. I'm going to start getting my pan hot. Add some heat a little bit more. I'm gonna pop a little bit of oil in the pan. You can use vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever oil you want. It's not gonna be a worry. We're not gonna cook it too high, but we are gonna get it nice and crispy. So I've cut it into some slices. Let's just move that slightly. And then all I'm gonna do is go the other way. And then eventually we're gonna work it into some cubes. The other thing you can do here when cooking tofu, obviously tofu is a bit of a weird one, not everyone likes it, but also not everyone really knows how to work with it or how to cook with it. With tofu, you can also just tear it instead of cutting it into cubes. And the positive you'll get if you tear it instead, although I'm cutting it into cubes today, is that you'll get extra ridges, extra texture, extra little bumps. And all of those little bumps, all of those little ridges, it gives it more ability to get more crispy, if that makes sense, because it gives it more surface area. The other thing that's gonna make it go crispy is here, I've got some corn flour. So I know you're worried, I've not taken up any kind of drug addiction during isolation. This is just corn flour, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna use that to make our tofu really crispy. So all we're gonna do is just kind of toss it in that corn flour, being nice and gentle. Corn flour tends to get flipping everywhere as it's such a fine powder. But yeah, just gently like this. Got a couple of rogue pieces over here. We're just going to toss it in the corn flour, and the corn flour is going to react with the oil, and it's going to make it really nice and crispy. It's going to just add so much extra texture that it's going to be flipping wonderful. Everyone's going to ask you how you made your tofu that way, and I love it as a nice lunch dish. It's a great lunch dish because I do also feel like I get a nice hit of protein in there. Got a runaway piece. I get a nice bit of protein in there. Tons of health benefits from it. Obviously we're not going to waste that. And yeah, it's just flipping delicious. I also love hoisin sauce. It's probably one of my favourite sauces, hoisin and hot sauce. So, we've got a pan nice and hot. We've got some oil in there. All we're going to do, bang the tofu in. Hopefully you can hear that little bit of a sizzle there. Chuck that tofu in the pan. I'm actually going to drop a touch more oil in there. There we go. It's on a 5 right now. I am going to notch it up very slightly. Let me just rinse my hands off. Beautiful. And then also I'm going to pop a little bit of salt in the pan as well. There we go, just get a bit of salt on that tofu. The salt and the sweetness of the hoisin sauce are going to work really well together. You're going to get kind of a sweet, soury, sweet, salty, you know, nice like salted caramel kind of effect. And then all I'm going to do, I'm going to flatten it out to make sure that it's all sitting on the pan. And I'm just going to leave it. Just leave it for a minute, 2 minutes. What you want to do, it's similar to cooking a lot of things where you want to actually let it build up like a layer. And the layer is going to be the crispiness, and it's also going to stop it sticking to the pan. So just leave it in the oil, leave it with the corn flour. It's going to build up a bit of a layer, then we're going to stir it. We're going to make sure that all the faces get crispy. Our broccoli is steaming away there. Let me just grab the colander. There we go. Got our colander. This we're just going to do a few more minutes, get it slightly tender. But then what we're going to do with this, which is something I love about this recipe, is we're going to save the water from it. So all we're going to do is, when this is ready, we're going to take a cup measurement. I'm going to scoop out a cup's worth of water, and we're going to use that then to soak our bulgur wheat in. Bulgur wheat's a fantastic grain. My body works with it really, really well. Never makes me feel bloated, never makes me feel too full. Really, really great grain, and it's really easy to cook because simply you basically just need to soak it. Let me just grab a bowl. So all we're going to do is that's half a cup of bulgur wheat there. Half a cup of bulgur wheat is going to go into the bowl. We're going to add in the cup full of boiling water. You want to go about 2-to-1 ratio with bulgur wheat, and that's just it's going to take some of the juices, some of the nutrients from the broccoli. Is this ready to move? It is. You can see that's just shaking about now because it's built up that skin, and you'll see some of these pieces are actually getting nice and crispy on the bottom. Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, so the tofu, the fantastic thing about it is it's not like you need to worry about it being undercooked. We're only trying to get the texture, we're only trying to get it crispy, so it doesn't really matter. And as soon as it is crispy, we're going to add the hoisin sauce to it. We're also going to, I'm going the wrong way. We're also going to drop the heat slightly at this stage. Now it's started to build that skin up. When we do add the hoisin sauce in, we don't want it to be too hot, we don't want it to get too sticky, we don't want it to burn because it's got higher sugar content in there. I reckon maybe 1 more minute and that broccoli is going to be good to go. Let's have a look. Oh no, happy days. That's good now. So what we're going to do, As I said, almost forgot that and almost just drained it. We'll just grab our bowl, pop our bulgur wheat in, then we're just going to take our cup measurement with a little bit of skill. That's just under a cup, 1 touch more, there we go. Pop that in there, then the rest of the broccoli. Can drain that water off. Back in the pan. Let that kind of steam dry a little bit. You see the steam still coming up from it. Got our fork here that we just tested it with. We're just going to give that bulgur wheat a little bit of a stir, and that's going to really start to soak up some of them juices. Pop that on the board for now, and then give this another mix. Oh gosh, this looks fantastic. Really, really close to being ready, this is. What I'm going to do, just something I really, really like. I love adding pumpkin seeds to this dish. Pumpkin seeds are just fantastic anyway. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop a few on the bottom of the pan, because it's going to take another minute just to get it even more crispy. And I'm going to scoop most of them out, pop them back in the bowl. You don't need to do this step. You know, the pumpkin seeds are just great on their own. You don't need to worry about toasting them or anything. You can just have them raw. I just want to toast them a little bit at the bottom of the pan. Just adds a touch more crunchiness. They just feel a lot nicer. That's great. Okay, right, scoop them over to one side. Don't worry about getting all of them out. It does not matter. Okay, let me just spoon those bad boys out. Back into the pot. So they're going to have a nice bit of crunch. They've also taken a little bit of oil out of the pan. They're going to have a nice kind of oily coating. I'm going to answer that. Okay, baby. Okay, right, delivery taken. So, all we're going to do now, we've got our hoisin sauce here. Our bulgur wheat started to really fluff up. If it's not soaked up all the water by the time you want it, you can heat it through slightly. Hoisin sauce, I just give it a really generous glug, because we want it to coat all of our tofu, but we also want a little bit of sauciness to the dish as well. So, what you're going to notice is that it will really start to bubble and it will really start to thicken. You want it to thicken because you want it to coat the tofu, which is great. Yeah, I'm on about a mid-heat here. I'm on a 5, so that's about what you want it, because it's just bubbling away. And as long as it's bubbling, it means it's going to lose a bit of moisture. It means it's going to thicken, so that's great. Yeah, this bulgur wheat is nearly there, to be honest. Just needs fluffing up a little bit. Beautiful. So yeah, we're nearly there. Really easy lunch, but I love it. I think it's a really great lunch. Like I say, high protein, tons of taste, packed in flavour on it. You just want to get this nice and crispy. The more kind of thick you get the sauce, the more crispy the tofu is going to feel, and you just want it sticky. Okay, we're getting close. Let's get a dish out. Love this dish for this. This is from Nom Living, so you can check them out. Let's give this another quick stir. And then all we're going to do is bang some of this bulgur wheat onto the plate. This dish serves about 2 people, so there's plenty here for 2 for lunch. Yeah, just tossing it onto the plate. spooning it out a little bit. Level that out. I'll just serve one up for now. And then I'm also gonna grab some of this broccoli. Get that onto the plate as well. Perfect. Cool. Tofu, nearly ready. That's just good. Yeah, that's great. That's gone perfectly sticky now. You can feel it starting to like stick to the bottom of the pan. And it is where we want it. I'm gonna turn the heat off. That's great. Let's just get a spatula to get it out with. Or even better, this will do. So all we're gonna do now is just pop this all around the pulp plate. So what happened there? So bowl, plate. Maybe it's a new thing. Okay, a little bit more. Do not neglect the sticky bits at the bottom of the pan. I get all of it in, all the saucy bits. Okay, then just our pumpkin seeds. Dust it with those. There you got a banging dish. Let me show you. There you go. Nice tofu, crispy broccoli bowl for lunch. Bulgur wheat, sticky hoisin sauce, and pumpkin seeds. Banging. So this is going to be the final meal of the day unless we get snacky. So all we're going to do, in here I've got some kale, just some kale de-stalked. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice to it. What I like to do before I cook the kale is just massage that in a little bit. And it's just going to soften it up. Beautiful. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some broccoli. Add the broccoli in there. Beautiful. And then a pack of gnocchi. Now on the front of this gnocchi you'll see it's gluten-free and egg-free. So, and it also says vegan on the front. So we'll bang all of that gnocchi in there. And then here I've got some pesto that I made the other day. So it's a traditional pesto, but it's got vegan cheese in there and some nutritional yeast as well. What I'm gonna do is add a little bit of oat milk to it to just kind of loosen it up a little bit. Maybe a touch more than that actually. Yeah. And then I'm gonna give that a stir. Again, just because I want to loosen it a little bit and mean that it's going to cover everything nicely. Really coat the gnocchi, coat the kale and the broccoli. Touch more. It's going to be nice and creamy. There we go. That's great. Nice and saucy. And then all we're going to do, we're going to add, literally got my shirt caught in the drawer then. We're going to add some olive oil to the bottom of our pan. It's a skillet, you can do it on a skillet, you can do it on a baking tray. It's not really too important as long as it's oven friendly. And then we can just empty this into the bowl. And obviously the kind of more traditional way people seem to do gnocchi is they boil it, but you can do it this way. We're going to bake it. I like it when it's baked, it's a little bit drier, but still, as long as you cook it long enough to kind of soften it, then it's great. There we go, so I've heated the oven to about 180°, and all we're gonna do is pop this, there we go. Don't want to waste any of this pesto with it being on my fingers. We're just gonna pop this into the pan, kind of level it out, and then we're just gonna bake this for about 15 to 20 minutes. Again, like I say, you just wanna make sure that the gnocchi itself gets nice and soft. Just grab a tea towel. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna bake that until the gnocchi is soft, about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'm going to bring it out and show you how it looks. So that's been about 20 minutes, that's ready now. Oh, watch out for the face scorch. So there we have some beautiful baked gnocchi, some broccoli, some kale, and obviously a gorgeous pesto. So I'm just going to serve some of this up. Oh yeah, gnocchi and pesto, definitely one of my favourites. Yeah, if you've never baked gnocchi before, I'd definitely give it a go. Really easy to do. You can go baked or pan fried, it's really nice as well. And especially if you get a pack like that, you don't need to worry about kind of boiling it first. You can just get straight in on it, like I did today. It does help if you either give it a little bit of oil to kind of coat it, or just give it some kind of sauce to coat it as well. It's really nice, help stop it drying out. And to finish off the kind of what I eat in a day, we're gonna have a nice glass of wine tonight. And this is Amarone, and it has got the nice suitable for vegans label on the back. So that's always a bonus. And for, you know, those vegans who drink out there, it is always worth checking, because it's not guaranteed that your kind of wines or alcohol is gonna be vegan. Usually because of the way it's filtered. Ugh. But there is vegan alcohol out there, so don't let it put you off if you're a big drinker. Oh, that's gone horribly wrong. Gone well too far in. Right. Sad. Cork's broke. Yeah. That's weird, eh? Hey, we've saved it. There we go. And I'll just show you the actual dish itself. So thanks for watching the What I Eat in a Day video. If you like this style of video, just give me a comment, let me know that you'd like to see more. I'm going to enjoy some gnocchi and a glass of red wine. Cheers.